James earns millions from internet marketing. Tim's got millions of questions. Welcome to Freedom Ocean. Now, jump on in.
James Schramko, welcome back to the ocean, my friend.
Thank you, Timbo.
And listeners too. Welcome back to the listeners. The most important. And the listeners are growing day by day too, let me tell you.
That is an interesting trend, isn't it? It goes up almost exactly the same amount each week, and then it starts to go exponential. It increases.
It's a good trend. It's a trend people would call pointing north if you're in the southern hemisphere.
And I have a theory on why that's happening.
Yeah? What is it? Well, go on. What is it?
I think it's because we've integrated our podcast with the Facebook channel and the YouTube channel. So at each touch point, if someone comments on the blog, on the Facebook comments, then that goes in front of other people's Facebook. If they subscribe to the YouTube video, then it pops up on their YouTube account. And if they're on our Facebook wall making some interactions, then it shows up on other people's. So there's all these opportunities for people to share content.
And integration is the key, isn't it? It's really that is absolute fundamental to not just internet marketing, but to any marketing. I'm running a workshop tomorrow for a medium-sized organisation, and one of the things, in fact, James, using local video method. Is that what it's called? Kevin's product that we talked about in a previous show.
That's the one.
Yeah, using that, have identified a lot of places with this business's online presence where they're just not integrated. And, we live in a marketing world, where it's quite easy to integrate things these days and have the different channels talking to each other. I like that.
I like that, and I think it's effective, and that's why we talk about it.
Now, for anyone who's new to Freedom Ocean, this is and you probably picked it up on the intro, which is, we've had a couple of intros of lately. I should touch on that. You keep picking up. You keep saying, when I send you a new edited show, hey, the intro's changed.
What, do you think I don't listen to it or something?
I don't know. I don't listen to my other podcasts that I do very often.
I listen to your other podcasts. You could just ask me.
I know you do.
I'll let you know if it's good or bad.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. I don't know where you find the time, mate, but, I guess living in the freedom mode, you're free to do what you want, really, aren't you? And you choose to listen to my other podcasts.
I like listening to them when I'm creating products, just so that I've got someone to keep me company.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, we've been changing. I've been mucking around with the intro to this, and I think we've got it right now. Do you like the way the ocean sounds continue for about 30 seconds into our discussion? That's what they call cool. That's hip, man.
I like it. It moves you to another place. I think audio is a very strong medium.
It is. Theatre of the mind, as they call it in the profession. Now, James, we've got a bit to cover in episode 10, mate. 3 things. One is, we are going to go and talk about a couple of people who have slammed us over recent weeks, and we'll have a little chat about that, and we can air our views. We're not going to slam back. We're just going to air our views on why we do what we do. Secondly, I want to ask you how the launch of your most recent product has gone, Traffic Grab, because we're literally in the first week of that launch, so it'd be great to get a sense of maybe what went well and, what you do better, what you've learned. And then we'll get to the guts of the show, which is all about search engine optimization. And dare I say SEO 101? Maybe not 101. What's up from 101? Would it be 102 or 201?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think that's an American standard, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, okay.
201. Well, I don't know.
One up from beginners, but we're going to sort of dig deep and sort of have a look at what is this thing, what's article spinning and submission and backlinking, and what makes up I guess my big question around SEO is what does a starter SEO pack look like? So we've got a bit to cover, mate.
All right, I'm ready to dive in whenever you are.
Lovely. What a lovely thought. Well, let's get stuck in first. Why don't you talk about the slamming we received a couple of weeks ago on Facebook?
Well, there's only two incidents. One was a comment we had on our blog, and that was about our lack of support. And that interested me. Firstly, it's a free podcast, so I was interested in what level of support a free podcast requires, just out of curiosity. And secondly, much to my shock and horror and dismay, when I logged into the support centre, it appeared that we had responded to the support request immediately. And I felt unfairly criticised because we take support so seriously. And I made comments to that effect underneath the gentleman's thing, because it's one of those things when you're challenged, what do? Do you just back away and be at one with the world and all that, or do you stand up for what you think is right?
Yeah, it was interesting because you got your back up quickly, and that's a personality trait. But also maybe being new to podcasting, where I've sort of done podcasting for the last two and a half years. I don't think it's specific to podcasting, but as I said to you at the time, when you stick your head above the trench and you express an opinion and share views and educate, or whatever we do in this podcast, you open yourself up to criticism. Mind you, we also open ourselves up to a lot of thank yous and really positive feedback. I mean, 99.9% of what we get back via iTunes reviews, blog comments, Facebook wall comments, it's pretty positive.
Well, the other one that was interesting was a Facebook comment, and that also irritated me because out of the two of us, Tim, I'm doing my internet stuff. I'm in a good place. I'm able to leverage what we do in ways that are indirect. I don't need to pitch and to sell. And the commenter had accused us of having a pitch fest. And
he did.
It irritated me for two reasons. One is, I'm not the one that really needs to sell anything or drive any sales. If anything, I'm the one, even in that very podcast, I said, make Grange, let it go longer and save it up for something good.
Yep.
And the second thing is, it was absolutely false. We had gone almost the entire podcast without mentioning any products. And at the very last bit, we mentioned some resources that were appropriate to the topic that would help solve problems. And that sort of leads to a few questions. Are we allowed to sell on our own podcast? And then if the answer is yes or no, should we actually be paying attention to the one whinger, or do we just go with the general flow of it? Because we had a lot of positive feedback from that very same episode. So obviously some people are offended by what they feel is a sales attempt. Is that evil or not? And the other thing is, I wonder what they're measuring against. I mean, I have been to pitch fests and seen what goes on, and I would not describe that episode as a pitch fest. Not after delivering how many episodes? 7 episodes of pure content?
Yeah. Well, you'd also gone back and, as only you could do, you went back and measured and quantified that at the 56-minute mark we mentioned a product. So, and I think the show went for maybe just over an hour. So, look, I was at the dog park at the time that Facebook comment came through, and that's when you and I started having the dialogue. I think it was via text or however we did it. And I was getting a bit of a laugh because, I mean, really, what we're doing, even talking about it now, and even when we were talking about it on the weekend that it happened, I mean, we're giving energy and air to the minority here. Remember, this is one person.
But this is why it's important, Tim, because when people put their website online, when they release a new product, when they put a feedback form or a contact form or comments or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, they will get comments, and there will be comments that aren't complimentary, because there are some people out there who even go out of their way to stir up trouble. I'm not saying this person did, but people are different and they react differently, and they now have, more than any time before, the ability to express themselves. They can still be moderated. You can delete or block or bar, and these might be topics as well. There are people who I've blocked from my social media because they're pests. and or they're spies.